Hey everyone, Michelle here from Scrappy Soul Sister, and today I am working on a project for the Rainbow Crush YouTube hop. Now, this hop is hosted by Tara over at the Paper Snob community on Facebook, and you have to use 75% of the color of the month. And this month it is black and white. And so I pulled out the Gardenia collection from 49 and Market. Now it has a lot of color in it, but it also has these great titles that I still have in my stash. And it just has, a lot of color accented with black, and you can use 25% of some other color. So I'm going to do pictures of Delilah. I haven't picked out which ones I'm going to use. I might do these three. We'll see, because they're all, this one she's just sitting nice and proper, but these two, she's playing with her toys. And then I can either use coral as my 25%, or I could use like teal. Teal looks good with coral. So something along those lines. And I think I am going to go ahead and gesso this so I can add some moisture to my mixed media. So that's my plan. So let's see what we can come up with. Right, so I have already gessoed this paper. I just use a clear gesso on it, and I'm going to go ahead and map these photos together. So I have them already on white, and then I put them on that black check. I'm just trying to figure out, where I want my mixed media. I am going to mount my photos up on a bit of fun foam, and I'm going to start by just drawing a heavy dark line with my Tim Holtz black soot pencil. And then I'm going to add water to it, kind of let it run and bleed a bit. Um, and uh, really paying particular attention to the ends, as those areas will show a little bit more. um, and yeah, this was actually, I know it's pretty simple, but it was fun to do. And it just gives my pictures somewhere to sit. I am also going to add more under this line. I'm going to start with this stencil from Vicky Bouton and my Broken China Distress ink. I'm just going to apply it randomly. I don't need it to be real solid or real intentional or anything like that. And so I am going to go ahead and rub that in places here and there. Not even worried about like lining it up or anything like that. I'm going to apply some water. And then I realized my picture is sitting there, so I need to get that out of the way. Don't want it to get wet. I have this Tim Holtz stamp. It is part of a four stamp like texture pack, and so I used it with, I think, hickory smoke, and then I'm just using a little text stamp with a solvent ink that's close to my heart, as I don't really need that to be running and blurring too much on this layout. And then I am going to use this X's and O's stencil. It is also a Vicky Boot, and I've added some white paint to my texture paste just to make it really white. Sometimes texture paste can have a bit of a gray cast. I'm just going to apply that again really random. I'm pretty random with my mixed media. And then I spilled my black soot stain spray, and I forgot that it was somewhat open, and I moved my mat, and yeah, and so trying to make the best of it. So I'm using it to um, go ahead and add some more color in my texture paste before I totally wipe it off. Um, Now I have a little tiny brick stencil that I really like for little details. And so I'm taking peacock feather through that, also distressing. And I will also add some water to that. And I think I'm getting close to being done with the mixed media portions. I am going to add some splatters, so I'm using peacock feather spritz for that. And then here is another mistake. My From when my bottle had spilled, it had some drops coming down it, and I hadn't noticed and cleaned it up, so I got three, four big drops on my layout, not really where I wanted it. And so I decided, well, I'll just add some larger drops up above, and it is what it is. I end up actually cutting a lot of those out, though I didn't know I was going to do that at the time. So now I'm adding some white splatters. And then I think I'm about ready to start adding some embellishments. And so I did add some rub-ons. I didn't realize that I wasn't filming. I added joy to the top, loved, sweetest with the sweetest definition, and then those black and white striped lines were all rub-ons. And then I added a second black border around my mat there. I just wanted it to be a little bit darker, making sure my pictures are straight of little Delilah. Now that middle one, I know it's kind of hard to tell what it is, but I just love that picture. She was um, sitting like almost in my lap, and she has that orange um, round toy, and she's sticking her nose through it and trying to get me to play with her, which really she doesn't have to try too hard. But I just took a quick picture because it was just such a unique little view. So I'm going to use primarily hearts as embellishments. I've cut them out on my Cricut in both of the papers that I used to mat my photos. And I also have some elements, like I mentioned, from the gardenia collection that I'm going to use. So that mat that I am using under that picture to the right, this chipboard piece might be from a Vicky Bouton deal. I used the other half in something else, and it happened to be sitting on my desk, and thought I am going to use that. And then off to the left is just the little film strip from Art. So I had a couple of pieces, just rectangle pieces from the gardenia collection. So I just folded them in half and sewed down their spines just to give them a little bit more interest. And I'm going to add that word sentiment above that. And then I'm going to build one more cluster using the larger rectangle and some more hearts off to the left there. And so far, I'm really liking this. I'm really hoping when Tara says black and white, that that includes like shades of gray, because um, there is a bit of gray in here, but black and white make gray, right? So I have some um, acrylic hearts, and so I'm going to scatter those around a bit. Um, And those are just from my stash. I thought about using these white little flowers, but I decided against it. They just aren't really showing up that well anyway. And then I thought, well, I might want some film strip over on the right side. It feels a little heavy right now, just on the left. And so I am going to tuck some in to that cluster over on the right as well. And that feels a little more balanced. Now, I didn't like how it was cut kind of halfway through. I just wanted the black at the top since that is how it was on the other side. And so I just trimmed it down a little bit. I am going to look at adding some of these black flat back gems. And there are also some clear crystals in there. And so I play with it a little bit here, but a little bit further on, I get more serious about adding them. So you'll see that in a moment. And I think I'm trying to see, do I have any more hearts that I want to use? Like I said, I decided against um, the flowers. And so I'm going to add one more heart. It took me forever. Actually, there's like some buttons. It takes me forever to figure out where I want the buttons. Totally overthink it. Now I have these little black flowers in my stash, and how often do you have an opportunity to use your black flowers? So I'm going to use some of them on this layout, and then I'm just going to use Nouveau drops in white. It's a stone Nouveau drops in the center of my flowers. So you'll see that probably here shortly once I figure out exactly where I want my flowers to land. I'm talking a lot, so I need to have a little something to drink. Really, the only things that I use that aren't black or white or gray is the bit of blue in the mixed media, and then there's the tag up above her picture on the left that says best ever. And then I cut that in half so I could use the other one over by um, her picture with octopus, one of her toys that her furry fairy dog mother got her. And now I just cut off the bottom of that layout. And because of the acrylic hearts, I couldn't get it into my paper cutter to cut real straight. So then I just make the edge all wonky with a notebook punch so it looks really um, more intentional. I'm going to put some of that black paper that I used around the photo at the top and the bottom, and then I'm done. This layout is almost complete. So thank you for joining me. Hit like or subscribe if you want more of my content. Check out the other creators. They're all very talented and enjoy your day. Here are some close-ups.